This is the new Audi RS5 and it's a little bit like a manta ray. You see, it looks really aggressive, but it's actually quite tame. It's less likely to kill you see, than the rear-wheel drive BMW M4 or the bonkers Mercedes-AMG C63 Coupe. And the grille sort of looks like a manta ray's mouth as well, doesn't it? Let's start off with the key reason why you buy a car like this. It's for the high-performance engine. I'll just remove the engine cover. You can see why they use a cover, because it looks like there's a load of melted metal on the top of it. But the key thing about it is that it's a 2.9 litre V6, and here are the turbos there. So they're in the middle of the V. It's known as a hot V. Apparently that improves the responsiveness of the engine. Now this thing puts out 450 horsepower and 600 Newton meters of torque, and it drives all four wheels via an 8-speed automatic gearbox. According to Audi, this car should be able to do 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3.9 seconds, but what about on a day like today when the road is wet? This will show you just how good Quattro all-wheel drive is. Now to measure the time, I'm going to actually use the car's inbuilt data logger there. Look, you can measure things like 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, 0 to 200 kilometers an hour, standing quarter, or a standing eighth mile. I'm not going to fully trust that though. I'm going to vouch those numbers there with my own specialist timing gear. See how accurate Audi's system is. Got the car in its sportiest setting, traction control into sports mode so I can launch it, gearbox in sports as well. Left foot on the brake, floor the throttle, building boost. Here we go. Oof. Launched straight into a puddle, but that didn't matter. My God, this is quick. Way, squirrely under braking. So the timer says 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.8 seconds. This says 3.92 seconds. There we go. Audi system was a bit more optimistic than the official carwow specialist timing gear. But still, blooming impressive. Does the number that Audi says in the wet. The RS5 has uprated brakes over the normal A5, so you've got 375mm discs at the front, 330s at the back. Also, you've got some big calipers gripping those discs, and these are 6 piston calipers, which is quite a lot of pistons to fit in there, and you have an RS logo there, just to let you know that these are performance brakes. Okay, let's see how good these brakes are. I'm going to do an emergency stop from 70 miles an hour when I hit the line down cone. I'm going to be able to measure the car's G-force using the G-meter. For measuring the actual distance, I'm going to have to use my specialist timing gear because the car's data logger can't do that. Let's see how good this car brakes in the wet. Let's stop as good as it goes. Oh, stop before the end cone. Oof. Whew, that is not bad. It stopped from 70 miles an hour, 47 meters in the wet. This is why people like Audis. They give you the performance and they're good whatever the weather. The RS5 has an uprated chassis over the normal car. It has lowered stiffened suspension. Also, the wheels are pushed 24mm out to the sides a little bit more, so you've got a wider track for improved road holding. And then you get these blistered wheel arches, which look really cool. The car also uses its brakes to help it turn. So as you're going round that corner, especially as you're going into it, it will automatically nibble away at the brakes on the inside wheels to just get the car rotating. In normal driving, the Quattro all-wheel drive system will be sending 40% of the power to the front and 60% to the rear. However, if needs be, it can send up to 70% of the power to the front wheels and up to 85% to the back. Now let's talk about the RS5's design. So Audi has given it a bit of a refresh. You've got some new headlamps with a slightly different look to them, and you get matrix LEDs as standard. The whole front bumper is completely new. So you've got this bigger grille here and bigger air intakes here, and you can get these different elements in either matte silver for the normal version, in gloss black, or even carbon fiber. The good news is all these vents, they are real. Now there's one that isn't, it's this one here. I don't know why Audi's going for this design. It sort of looks like the car's bonnet isn't shut properly. I also miss the fact that on the previous RS5 you used to have Quattro written there, which was kind of cool. Down the side, the RS5 gets 19-inch alloy wheels as standard. The carbon black model gets 20s in black, and the Vorsprung has 20s in silver. Now the car has these big extended side skirts. They're actually slightly more extended than on the previous RS5. The door mirrors, they're either in matte silver, this black, or you can get them in carbon fiber depending on which model you have. There's also 2 new colours, Tango Red and this one, which is called Turbo Blue. Quite nice. It's interesting. Here at the back, the RS5 has a little boot lip spoiler there, and it's got some redesigned tail lamps, all LED obviously, and it also has a redesigned rear bumper as well, which is a bit more aggressive. And this area of diffuser can be this black or silver depending on which model you go for. I say diffuser, it's not really a diffuser, it's a fake diffuser, and there's more fakery here by the side of the lights. Yeah. At least the exhausts aren't fake. These big oval exhausts, they are real. They're the characteristic RS oval tailpipes, though actually inside them there's two smaller real pipes. Not exactly a lie, but not completely honest either. Here on the inside, upgrades over the standard A5 include RS sport seats, which are trimmed in super soft and Napa leather and have this nice honeycomb design. You also get an RS steering wheel with the flat bottom, RS logo on it there. You get an RS gear selector as well. There's aluminium pedals, there's aluminium kick plates on the sills. You also get a little red surround for the starter button. Then there's the interior trim. Now this one has the upgraded carbon fibre. I'm not so sure whether I'll go for the carbon fibre. I think it's a bit unnecessary. Now changes over the old RS5 include the fact that Audi now give you paddle shifters which have real aluminium on them, so they feel nicer to touch. But the big difference is this new infotainment screen. It's a touchscreen. The old system, you use a swivel wheel to control it, which is actually easy to do while you're driving, but this is still a nice display and it's easy to use, and you've got voice commands as well. You also have some changes to the digital driver's display in the form of the new style RS dials, which are kind of like an L shape, though I'm not the biggest fan of those. I preferred the old roundel that you used to get on the previous generation model, but hey, there you go. Here in the back, rear passengers are treated to a little bit of RS-ness, so they also enjoy the Napa leather seats with a honeycomb pattern, but other than that, it's just like a normal A5, which means it's not that practical. Headroom, a little bit tight because that sloping roof line. Knee room, tight because it's a two-door coupe. The view out isn't great. It's a strict two-seater here in the back, and dividing you is this weird indentation, which I think is for storing things, but if someone accelerates hard or brakes, that's going to go everywhere. There's this as well, which I find quite amusing. So when you fold this down, you open up the cup holders, it's like some kind of creature just awaking from a slumber. Look. Then you get scared. Tiny things please my mind. Now, if you need to carry longer things, such as skis, if you want to take this car to the Alps, you can do, because look, you got through loading, you can have your skis through there, or you just strap them to the roof, don't you? Don't you? Yeah, I did it that time. As you'd imagine, there is no change in the boot capacity over the normal A5, so it's actually pretty decent. You can fit a human body in there, probably 2 or 3 actually if you really need to. In terms of litrage, you've got 450 litres of space, which is a bit more than you get in a BMW M4 and quite a bit more than you get in a Mercedes AMG C63 coupe. Quite practical as well, really, for a coupe. So there's the ability to fold down the rear seats, carry longer items, there's tie down points, there's nets, there's a hook for your shopping so it doesn't go flying all over the place when you're driving home too quickly from the supermarket. And under here, there's some extra storage so you can put bits and pieces round there. But really, if you want performance and practicality, this is not the way to go. What you want is an Audi RS4, which I think is the better car overall. And if you click on the pop-out banner up there, you can watch my full in-depth video of that car. And that brings me on to 5 annoying things about the RS5 coupe. The design of Audi's Quattro all-wheel drive system means that the engine is pushed quite a way forward, so it actually sits in front of the front axle. That's where the front axle is there, you can see. It is therefore more prone to understeer. The design of the front sport seats means it's a little bit hard for people in the back to see at the front, so they have to peer around. Hello. You can only get adaptive dampers on the very range-topping version of the RS5, the Vorsprung. That's a bit annoying because you do need it because it gives you the best balance of comfort and handling. On the old RS5, you could fit it as an option to any version. When your friends ask you how fast this car is, you're going to tell them the top speed is 174 miles an hour, which is true if you got the Vorsprung model, yet again. All the other versions are limited to 155 miles an hour. If you don't know why that is, it's less than 20 miles an hour. Why don't you just make them all that fast, Audi? Why not? If you want this car to sound as good as it can, you need to pay extra for the sports exhaust. This one doesn't have it, so it's a little bit tame for a performance car. Even with that sports exhaust, it doesn't sound as good as the old RS5 because of new noise regulations. Yay. It's not all negative though. Here's 5 good things about this car. Audi has copied BMW with its M1 and M2 buttons on the steering wheel, and here you have RS modes, which you can pre-configure here using the main infotainment screen. So you can change things like the drive system, the suspension, the steering. I'm going to go for RS1. Audi has made a few tweaks to the car's engine and fueling system to improve the economy. And look what we're averaging here, 27.9 miles per gallon, which considering this thing's performance is actually pretty blooming good, you know. If you want to take your RS5 to a racetrack or like to drive down mountains very quickly, then you can upgrade the front brakes to carbon ceramics. And when you do that, you actually reduce the unsprung mass by 8 kilos, and less unsprung mass means better handling. The new RS monitor shows you the temperature of various key components in the car, such as the engine, the gearbox and the sport differential, and it gives you this key here from overheated, whoa, hot, warm, cold and unavailable. Oh dear, I want it to be unavailable. If you want, you can pay extra to have this car fitted with an opening glass sunroof, or you can pay extra to have a carbon roof fitted instead, which obviously you can't open. That carbon roof actually reduces the car's weight by 4 kilograms, and it's weight that's up high, whereas this will add weight. And also, another thing I've noticed about it is that this pop-up element, which shields the wind, seems to end up to be a fly graveyard, and it's covered in this weird like mould as well. Get the carbon roof. Let's see what this RS5 is like on a twisty road. This is the perfect day to show off Quattro. Slippery surface. The car just grips really well and it's predictable, it's safe. It will move around beneath you a little bit, but it doesn't get kind of layering out of shape and struggle with traction like an M4 or C63 will. Oh, look at that, I mean, it just flew through there, completely unflappable. However, it's not all perfect. For instance, the steering just doesn't have quite the feel that you get in the other Germans. And while it will go a little bit sideways, it's not the full-on kind of hairy chest thing that you can do in the rear-wheel drive cars. You can't tell as much through your bum what's happening with the chassis, but it's still good. It does tell you enough. Then there's the gearbox. I've got it in manual mode, and there's a slight delay between you pressing the paddle and the gearbox responding, and that sort of sums up the whole car. It's just not quite as sharp as the equivalent BMW or Mercedes. And that brings me on to what this Audi is like when you're just driving normally. It's easy to live with, it's just like a normal 85. You forget that you've got all that performance. The suspension is all right over bumps. It's better with the adaptive setup because then you just put it into comfort mode and it's really good then. If you don't have that fitted, it's still livable. The car's quiet as well, it's quite relaxing. The gearbox, when you're just pootling along, it just blurs the gears together really well. And when you put your foot down, kick down isn't instantaneous, but it's all right. And then it takes off and you're reminded, yeah, we've got some performance here. And the stability control is always there to help you out if things go awry. It's an easy car to live with, easy. And then when you need to overtake, boom, you've got all that performance as well. It's a good combination. The RS5 range kicks off from around £70,000 and it's very well equipped as standard. So you get these screens, you get 3-zone climate control, keyless go, park assist, the electrically operated seats, they're heated, and they even have a massage function. The next level up is the carbon black, which basically adds carbon and black styling details. Finally, at the top of the range is the Vorsprung model. So that has all the bells and whistles, such as a Bang & Olufsen stereo, laser headlamps, a 360-degree camera, and adaptive cruise control, which will automatically steer to keep you in lane. I'm going to go in now because it's absolutely teaming it down. So then, what's my final verdict on the new Audi RS5? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon you should consider it. It's not quite as leery as an AMG or an M car, but it is a better all-round performance car, though an RS4 is an even better all-rounder, so I'd just get one of those instead.